Hi. So I have decided to start a very small project, but I'm going to make it extra special because it is my friend's birthday 2 weeks from now. It's going to be a remake of this little baggie, but I'm going to make it into a foraging pocket. This one I did with like Halloween skulls that look all creepy, and I love it. And this is just like my little discard bag that I keep on my sewing desk to discard the extra threads and little pieces of fabric. This one folds all the way up into a really long, just basic bag with a lining. I like the way it looks when it folds down. I have these little heart clips. Isn't that cute? I was thinking one, but to clip onto a belt loop, I was thinking, but then the pocket sticks out really awkwardly from, say, if this is your hip. So I'm going to try two like that. She'll be like my test person to tell me whether or not this is actually useful or not. But I'll remake it with this fabric. I pre-washed it and it's not ironed yet, so it's a little bit crinkly looking. It's like basil, dill, rosemary, and like a hint of mint. No, parsley, a hint of parsley in there. I thought I saw mint, but I'm not sure. That could be mint there. I also have these beads, and I would love to find a way to incorporate beads because these are real jade, green tiger's eye, regular tiger's eye. I have a bunch of different jade beads. If these are in the back. Okay, I'm back and I just realized my nails are atrocious. Why? Because I do dishes, lots and lots of dishes. So this is what you get. Mom, I'm a mom. Okay, so I think I'm ready to get started. I haven't sewn anything. This is just folded over to sort of give the idea. There it is. 3. Or we have these ones. And maybe if I have enough.
Where's the electronic switch?
I don't know. I have here a brand new roll of tracing paper. I've never had my own roll of tracing paper before. Ah, isn't that beautiful? Centimeters. This is half centimeters, half inches, but it changes like halfway down the ruler. It makes no sense to me. I don't think it's ever taken me so long to measure out a square. I'm only doing this because if I'm going to replicate it, I want to make sure they're all the same size. If that's the size that works. Cotton canvas. I did not serge the edges before putting this through the wash. At least I washed it. It just means I'm going to lose the edge of my material. So I've ironed it. I probably didn't give it enough time to fully cool before crinkling it back up again. I'm going to do it just inside where the fabric is damaged there so that I can just cut that off. I don't want to...
A, B,
I'm going to...
C.
Okay, so the bottom of the bag that I did here does have the seam. You could do this on a fold. You could put one of these seams on a fold. You could eliminate the bottom seam. Oh, choices. Okay, you know what? I'm deciding that I am going to do it on the fold. The fact that it has no extra seam in the bottom means there's no stitching to break there. And then I'm going to repin this just to make sure it doesn't slip. There's a little bit of tiny extra there. It's not like I'm lining up pant legs in seams of garments. So I'm just going to roll with that little extra bit there. And we just have to keep that in mind for the lining, that the lining can be a little bit larger as well. You want some toast, hon?
Need some toast.
Okay, let's do that. The toast is ready. So you can see on this fold, the damage comes down here, right? That's why I have that extra space on that side, because I just want all the grain lines to line up properly. And that is where, with these, I would just put that in there. And fold this fabric up. We are done with the cotton canvas for today. So I ironed this part of it. Even though this is a print that doesn't really seem to have a right way and a wrong way, I'm trying to be conscious of where I place these plants so that when the lip of the bag goes down like this, it actually looks like it's the right way. It would look like that. And I think I want these a little more centered. So if we take, this is going to be about that big. So we take it down there. That's a little better. That means that's going to be more centered. And on this side, we've got that. And that looks all right. We don't need to have it exactly the same as that. It shows more of the mint and the rosemary, and then we got all the basil over here. So it'll keep the bag interesting because each side will look a little bit different. Okay, I found my scissors. You want to know where they are? They are right here. They're right here. Those are my scissors. I'm doing the lining the exact same as the outer fabric. And I've had more interruptions than what I'm showing on the video. So my executive functioning for the day has pretty much been maxed out. Even though I hand washed it, I still lose a bit of the edge. So that's something to note, that, you know, even if you're hand washing, you might want to overlock the edge if you want to save that little bit of material and to stop like the extra strings. I had to like stop a bunch from going down the drain. But I don't think this is going to dry very fast on the edge of the tub, so I'm going to take it outside to air dry. So I'm thinking in the meantime, I'm going to take the yarn and I'm going to try to do the cording. The only problem is I have with the main method of like the twisting is that it's going to be difficult to get beadwork in there. So I'm thinking I'm going to just braid it. There was a bunch of neat cord ideas, but a lot of it required crocheting, and I don't have the needles and stuff to crochet. So I think this is the end. There we go. This is approximately how long half of it's going to be, so I need the cord itself to be at least this long, so I want 3 times that. And maybe just a little extra in case like my estimate's off. And then I want 2 times that because I want 2 cords. I want the drawstring to go both ways. So let's see. So this is where I want it. Now I have to find the scissors. Found the scissors. But now I'm thinking I actually need 3 times this amount because braiding requires 3 strands. So 3 times longer is because I'm going to braid it and then braid those braids. Yeah, that's about right. And then snip. So I'm starting by doing a knot like that with 3 strands. I don't know if this is going to be a really silly idea, but I don't actually have one of those little loop threaders. I thought I did, but I can't find it. So I've got here the thread tied to one of the strongest strings I have, which was actually given to me by the girl that I'm making this for. So I'm going to try to thread that through, so that works, but is it going to pull the yarn through? It does. Look, it's pulling the yarn through the bead, and I could put the bead right there. Now I'm not sure if that was the one I wanted to do first, but it's the one I did first. Take that off. I'm going to braid this a little bit to get the braid to go, and then I'm going to do the next bead. I'm going to braid a little bit more and then do the next bead. That keeps coming undone. Of course, it's all like fluffy, so the fluff sticks to the tape and comes off. Okay, now the thing about braiding is that it is going to take a lot longer than the twisting method that the other YouTube videos showed. And I might have to finish this in random intervals later today. I'm hoping that before I run out to this workshop that I will be able to iron those pieces, because I'm afraid if I leave them out there all day, they're just going to actually dry. And I don't want them completely dry because I need to shrink them. Okay, I suggest not using tape, maybe like actually tying this end to something, because having to readjust the tape is getting kind of annoying. New day. I ran out of cording time, but in the meantime, I did sew together the black part of the bag. I don't have my serger set up right now, so I just did like an overlock stitch, which is like a serger stitch, but without the machine cutting it as it goes. And then for the corners, I sew them this way, and I line up the tip with one of the lines on the machine, so I can get both of them even. And then I do the same thing with this one. You do that one first, and I take it right to the tip, and then I stitch the corner, and you can snip that if you don't want it so bulky. I'm running out of time. I have like an hour left before I gotta run out of the house and go to brunch with this friend. I have to sew on the details there, and I need to make a buttonhole, and I haven't made buttonholes for months, so I have to go review how to. I stayed up really late making the ropes, so I'm like running off of 3 hours of good sleep and 2 hours of like alarms going off. The cording I'm going to snip some of these ends, but I'm just not ready to do it yet because I don't want anything unraveling before I'm finished it. And this is 3 strands of braids braided together. So each really long braid took me probably half an hour, not half an hour, maybe some of them took half an hour because I had difficulty like holding this still. And also I found I was braiding over until on one of these, when I was braiding the braids together, I was under, and it was so much faster. It was just like under. I'm like, what? This is how you braid. But I actually found that the braiding under part is not as beautiful looking as the braiding over part. I got it a little twisted there. It's not perfect. It's my first project. It's like a little more uniform, a little more flat and consistent. So I had decided that these ones are the ones that look best with this material. Okay, and I am putting on some peaceful music, but I'm not even taking the time to make coffee this morning. I'll get some when I go out for brunch. Okay, so that's pretty good. Is this one a little further away than this one? It's not even. Did I eyed it wrong. Did I really do that? I did it. Ugh. Okay, if you're gonna do this professionally, use a ruler. That's a little better. Are they all on like this little angle? That should be okay. I can sort of adjust that. But even though they're kind of cute, like being dangly, I'm going to put a bit of thread through the middle parts to stop them from dangling, because even though I like the dangly look, my thought is they're more likely to receive damage in a wash. It's going to eventually wear and tear on this, and if you put this bag in a bigger bag and you've got cording or rope or string or keys or something in that bag, there's a good chance it's going to get tangled with other stuff and then pull, and the thread might hold up. The thread's strong, but if you pull that thread hard enough, you might wreck the fabric. So I took the black part off so that I can sort of get under here with hopefully still keeping the fabric somewhat straight. And I want to strategize this so that it is at the least visual part, because I don't want it looking like there's black thread going over each of these. Okay, so despite the mess of moving and stuff, I do know where my buttonhole foot is. I just have to remember how to use it. Okay, I just ran out of recording space again, so now I'm really racing the clock So please forgive me that this is not just like a walkthrough how-to tutorial. And because it's been a while since I've done this, I'm going to do it on a scrap piece of fabric first, just to make sure it works the way I want it to. And then I'm going to do it on the good one. Power. How do I do this again? What is wrong? I'm so out of time right now. But it's not. 5. It's showing up position. Okay. Wait, why is this forward? Oh, okay, I see that behind there. And push. That's what I was. So let's try that. It's still not doing it. It's doing it. Okay, it's working. Gentle taking it out. No. Why? Thing first. So it's just like, but it's not finishing what it's supposed to. But I don't have time to deal with this. It's not doing the first part of the buttonhole. I'm gonna break the seam. This is what I should have done at the beginning. I think it's just because I'm in a rush. Okay, she's actually on her way over here, like right now. I got both of those sewed up. I just need my stitch ripper. Found it. And this is to make the hole in the buttonhole. Okay, that's good. Good enough. That one's smaller, but it's good. It's good. Okay, now I'm just doing a straight stitch on this one. I don't even know if that's the best choice, but it's what I'm doing. I have to stitch rip that last part because I have to leave the hole in order to pull it through. Okay, so she's here. I'm going to take this with me to the brunch. I'm going to finish it at the brunch, so she'll see it, but she doesn't see the rest of the stuff. Maybe I'll do that when I get back. Okay, new day. I went out for brunch. I kind of told her the story about the reason I'm like so late is trying to get this project done for her, and that I was trying to videotape it at the same time. And she's like, well, just wait till tomorrow. Tomorrow's my birthday anyway. I guess I just had it pictured in my head that everything would be like ready, and then I like expect myself to hold to my pictures in my head of how I want like a day to go or an event to go. I was sort of swimming upstream. She does all sorts of sewing projects herself, so she completely understands. She's just like, go, make your video. So if I didn't already make it clear enough because I was in a rush, I sewed the good sides together, and then what I'm supposed to do is leave like this much of a hole in the stitching to pull it all inside out. Knowing my brain, I probably just released the fabric thinking like that would stop the machine. Meanwhile, my foot's still like on the gas. No, I don't want to be like that gaslighting of myself, but it's possible. And these stitches are so tight. Not in a bad way. It's just like, this is a good quality stitch. I'm actually going to stitch rip this a little bit more because I don't want it to tug too much on the fabric and then rip the fabric instead of the thread coming loose, right? I'm just gonna hold the edges over like this. I'm not gonna pull at the edges because I'm afraid it's gonna rip other seams or wreck the fabric. So what I'm going to do is kind of push the fabric into that part that I got coming through. It's too bulky, like I can't really push more into it. I'm going to try to pull some of it. What's that? Okay, that's the buttonhole. Okay, we're getting the last little bit pushed in there. Okay. Then this should just all just pull it lightly. Okay, good. So we've got the lining, we've got the outside, and now we've got to put it one in the other. The seams all look nice, no threads hanging out, a little bit of fluff maybe. We'll de-fluff it at the end before we give it to her. Pull it over like this. Isn't that such a cool bag? It could be some like little charm bag, button bag, tarot card bag. What we do need is to stitch up this opening that's still open. I would tuck the edges in like that so there's no raw edges showing, and then just stitch there with the black cotton thread. Yes, it does look a little bit different than this, but that is how you make bags. And then I will iron and press all the edges. I won't do that on the video because this is already so long. I'm gonna line it up with the edge of the foot right there, not one of these lines, because I really do want it to be as close to the edge as possible. So I'm also going to move my needle all the way to that side. Now we need to add the drawstrings. These ones. I'm going to take one of these, put it through a section of this that isn't going to easily tear apart. So maybe right through the middle of the knot, perhaps, because you don't want the tug of it to pull apart the work. Bunch it all, I'm bunching it all up, and then it should just wiggle out. And then bunch it all up, all the way back through to the beginning of where it started. Okay, I see a problem. Is this could technically get lost anywhere in this bag because there's no top stitch here. Pull it all out. All the little details that go into like what appears to be a simple bag. I want to make sure the lining's in properly so we don't end up with any errors that way. But there's nothing to stop the cording from wiggling its way into anywhere in the bag. I'm not stitching this part down here, by the way. Okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave this part open, but I'm going to stitch here. I'm going to pin it to make sure that I'm actually stitching through the cotton canvas underneath there, and that it's not slipping to just being on the quilting cotton if the cotton canvas is slipping like this, because then that would be useless because the cord would still slip between the two fabrics. We just got to make sure it's all nice and snug, pin it down, and then do a top stitch. That leaves enough room to flip it up like this if it ever needs to be put through the wash in order to protect the metal and the beads on the cord. Pinned. It's pretty. You can see it does sort of change the look of the bag. It doesn't have that nice kind of bubbly effect on the top. It's more structured. On my other bag, I don't have the cording, so I was able to leave it kind of bubbly. Is just that little, is it gonna focus? That little hiccup in the fabric there. It's just like the slightest little bubble that folded over. It's like hardly even noticeable unless you're looking for errors. So I should stitch rip that and try to get it to lay flatter. I could pull it tighter and stitch right there and it'll fix that. Okay, so it's better. It's not like folded over into the seam, but it's still a little bit of a kink, so I might try to iron that out. Now we will feed this through. Yes, it will go through. we did make the buttonholes big enough. That's very important. I'm grabbing the tip of the safety pin there and then just sliding the material. There we go. I think I know where the other one is. And then this one goes in the opposite one. Okay, there we go. So now to make the ends look a little tidier. I saw one technique where someone for the ends just sort of like fluffs them. Because I think that's what they'll become anyway. Maybe I should become better at understanding knots. I don't know, I think that's kind of cute. It's a little random, it's a little like improv, but I like it. I do. Let's see if I can make the other one look somewhat the same. The one without the beads, I double knotted between these two beads, and then I'm bringing it in behind and braiding it enough to tie a knot in this braid. I'm just putting in enough knots that if like one knot comes out, at least it's still knotted in some sense. Put this far. Fluff it up a little. They look kind of twiggy, don't they? Like little twigs or like mushroom twigs. I am so glad this is finished. I am exhausted. It just took so much longer than I expected it to. But look how cute that is. I love these. I love them. They're unique. They're totally like random. They're a little bit messy, but like that kind of adds to the natural aspect. It kind of counterbalances this like extra structured look. So we've got like square energy mixed with a little chaos, which is structure and chaos. So I love it. It's very Harley Callisti. If you're like a D&D player, it'd be a good dice bag, right? We're gonna pull it tight. Okay, that's what it looks like pulled tight. Still pretty cute. And then like that can loop to a belt. You can carry it. So these are the little clips. And I thought, well, it might be nice to put them on like that. Make it so that, you know, they can go up or down. For this, you need to put like fabric there and then loop this into the fabric. But in order for me to add this now, I have to make sure I'm not sewing into the drawstrings that are already there. Even if they're useless, they're still pretty cute. So I'm going to add it because I think it adds that like little special touch that makes it more than just like a simple bag that I've gone through all this chaos in order to sew together. Okay, so after a little bit of thought into this, I have decided that this might be the best approach. This is cotton, twill cotton webbing. It's not very thick, so I think this folded in half is going to fit in there nicely, right? And then we'll take that little bit like that. The only issue is how am I going to hide that flat edge? If I cut about that much, bring the bottom one under, and then the top one cups the bottom one, it would be sewing through 3 layers, which I think might be the best course of action here. Oh wait, no, that's 6 layers. 3 layers of the double layer, which if that is the jean needle in my sewing machine, it should work. If it's the universal needle, we'll see if it survives. And I know what my friend would say. She'd say, test it first. Do a test run. So that is for the test. Oh wait, that would be 6 layers plus the layer of this. There's a lot of layers to sew through. Okay, that test came out smooth. My machine loves this. And then what I'm going to do, so I'm going to sew that down, and then I'm going to bend this over like this. I'm going to tuck under. I'm going to put the bar on there, then tuck this over, and for that one it'll be tucked under a bit, and then sew there just underneath the line so that all that is hidden under here. That's where all the stitch coming through will be, which will leave this still pretty clean. Okay, so with my kid's ruler, I did 2 inches in from each side. And for this part, I'm going to do a basting stitch just to make sure that it doesn't slip onto a weird angle, or just to make sure I don't sew through the cording, or that the fabric doesn't bunch up weird. Okay, here it is. I'm so happy with it. It's so cute. Do you like it? Would you use it? I haven't even calculated the extra amount of hours of work it takes just to add on all these extra little details. But I think this is really what makes the difference between it being a designer bag and and something that you would probably just rather purchase from a sweatshop. If you have actually watched this whole way through, thank you so much. And do please join me for my future videos. It would mean so much for me if you hit the subscribe button and maybe even the like button. I'm not going for any sort of perfectionist approach here, obviously. If you like sewing, follow along, and I would love to know who my people are. Little bag that I made, it's got this cute little mushroom mug, sandalwood, incense, lion's mane mushrooms, a tea bag that is organic hemp and cotton, and then on the inside of the mug we'll do buttons, wooden buttons, because she also does a lot of sewing and beautiful projects, and she loves these natural colors. So we got a mug of buttons, a bamboo bowl, and some towels, and yeah.